All right, Melania Trump speaking earlier this evening. Joining me now to talk more about that and much, much more, I have Frank Luntz, CBS News analyst and Republican pollster, and CBSN political contributor and former Mike Huckabee campaign spokesperson, Hogan Gidley. All right, Frank, first to you. What did you think of Melania Trump and Donald Trump and his entrance?
I was shocked. I saw things tonight that I've never seen at a convention. First, the delegates were absolutely focused on what was being said. Normally there are conversations, nobody pays attention. The runways are completely filled with people just engaging each other. Tonight, everybody was in their seat. They were listening to every word. There's a passion, a quiet passion here that I've never seen since I started attending conventions in 1992. Second, is that I've never seen Rudy Giuliani as passionate and outspoken and just in your face. If he had been that motivated and that animated in 2008, he would have won the nomination. And third, Melania did better than I was expecting her to do. The language, the presentation, clearly the audience loved it. So the question is, how do people at home react to it? I think she's compelling. I think she's interesting to them. They would want to hear more from her, but she did exactly what she was meant to do, to add a softer, more human side to Donald Trump. I think the Republicans are going to be happy with what happened tonight.
Hogan, what did you think?
I agree 100%. I mean, look, the reputation Donald Trump has is someone who's harsh, who's hard. She softened him tonight. She talked about the compassion he has in his heart. Lots of lines stuck out to me. She talked about the compassion is what's going to bring us together. Donald Trump can bring that compassion. She even talked about her agenda as First Lady, that she would focus on women and children and making sure every child had a good education, for heaven's sakes. She said that Donald Trump would represent all the people, and then she went on the list: Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hispanics, and Asians. And there was a line that I really did like, and she said, there's no room for small thinking. There's no room for small results. Donald gets things done. And it brought down the House. That was one of her bigger applause lines. And she roused the crowd. This is a difficult thing to do, to speak in front of all these people. She was able to wait for the audience to finish clapping. She stirred them up. She brought them back down. They were engaged in every single word she said. It was very impressive.
I feel sorry for the general who is speaking behind us right now. You can't go. That should not have been the last speaker. It's the only criticism I have, because you can see that right now it's less than half filled. After Melania spoke, everybody else left. They probably should have put him on earlier, or flip the order and have Rudy Giuliani close, since the most watched half hour of a convention is the 10:30 to 11 o'clock half hour.
Let me ask you this, Frank. Do you think that we learned from Melania Trump something about Donald Trump that we didn't know before?
No, I don't. I actually don't think, but they still got a chance to hear her and size her up. And I think that because Donald Trump is so outside the traditional mainstream of politics, that people want to hear from the kids. They want to hear from the spouse. They want to know what kind of man he is, because you're asked to judge him, not by his political record or by his policies, but by who he is and his business record. So they want to know what he believes. They want to know the character of the man, and she did provide a fair amount of that. But no, I don't think they learned anything. I think, though, that they felt better about it.
What do you think? Would you agree with that? When you look at Donald Trump's numbers with women, for example, he's obviously been challenged in reaching out to women, and the idea that you have his wife here now to talk about some of these things that maybe we don't always get to hear about from the candidate himself, clearly meant to soften some of his edges. What do you think about that motion? Did it help him in that way?
It did, but again, I wanted some more. I wanted her to talk a little bit more about Donald Trump, the man, and some of the charitable giving and the things he's done that we don't get to see. I mean, no one knows him better than Melania, and we didn't get a chance to see some of the more deeper things that they go through together, his family struggles they go through. But I don't think it was a detriment at all to the overall message. She kind of carried forward a softer touch. She basically kind of delivered the same message that Donald Trump does. She just does it in a white dress with a pretty face and a very strong. I mean, I was so impressed. This room is so difficult to be in and to command, and she did it. And to ask a person who English isn't their first language to get up on this stage in front of this crowd and deliver an on-time, succinct, strong message about a man that not many people know much about was fascinating to me.
All right, we have to talk about, Frank, that dramatic entrance, apprentice-style entrance by the candidate himself. What did you think when you saw the smoke and you saw the candidate in silhouette appear there?
So what are the rules about the words that we can use? Because I will tell you exactly what I said. I was in a box with about 30 other people, including several senators.
Trying to keep it a family show, Frank, so.
Oh, heck. And it was not, I literally, and they all turned at me because he's in silhouette with "We Are the Champions" playing in the background, and he is just standing there. And we have never seen a presidential nominee come out on a Monday night ever in American politics. It was the most dramatic entrance that I've ever seen, and I let go with about 2 or 3 four-letter words. But you know what? I was impressed. I really was. I was shocked.
What did you think, Hogan?
It's not that any of this presentation is good or bad. It's just different. We've never seen anything like this, and that's what makes it so compelling.
Yeah.
He comes out in full silhouette of all things.
Yeah.
I mean, we were all up in the green room there, and I said, this is the best thing I've ever seen. And I didn't mean it like best is good or great. I meant like just fascinating. I've never seen anything like it before in politics.
Still, Rudy Giuliani's speech tonight, he was declaring war on the media. He was declaring war on the left of center commentators. It was the most direct, in-your-face convention speech to open this up. I promise you that a year from now, they will still be talking about it because he basically said, bring it on. And when that protester, who was no more than 10 or 15 maybe feet away from me, when she stood up, Rudy was ready and wanted to take her on. This guy was mad, and he wanted to take prisoners.
I want to ask, Frank, a question. One of the things you mentioned was that people were engaged in these speeches, and they were. What was fascinating to me was during the Benghazi presentation, you could have heard a pin drop in here. It was dead silent. Have you ever seen that?
I've never seen it, and I could actually hear a conversation that was 2 sections over, which is impossible in a cavernous arena like this. And as you're watching, there are several women who are crying. There are several men who are just down with their heads. They were spellbound by the story, and when they brought it to a close, the language that they used, the declaration, in essence, never again, that cuts through. Now, it was only watched by a cable news audience and an online audience, so the networks weren't covering it. But it was a very powerful 30 minutes.